I don't watch your show enough to know, although I've seen people on here who, when Emma was on, who promote this idea that there was like this explosion of crime. And in fact, what ends up happening is that, yes, during COVID, there was a spike. And now we're back down. And the only thing that is back at 2019 levels is actually shoplifting, because it had gone down and it's gone back up because we're back to normal.
So we're about to have a look at a debate between Tim Pool and Sam Seder. Now, Sam Seder to me comes off as another one of these guys like Woke Destiny, Tim Miller, but Sam Seder's not wearing the pearl necklace, Cenk Uygur, David Pacman, all these guys that come out here and basically defend the Democratic apparatus wholeheartedly. They like to talk fast, they appear smart, but really, when you look into the things that they say, most of the time, you'll find that it's a direct lie. And guys like Sam Seder, they basically side with big tech, big censorship, big government, which is completely the opposite of the Democratic Party of old, of the one that, I know growing up or whatever, right? That we hear of. I don't know. I wasn't into politics when I was a kid, right? But the one you hear of historically. And Tim Pool appears to be a little bit more cool, calm, and collected than Sam Seder in this one. So let's go ahead and just check it out.
New York's been getting pretty wild. I suppose it's relative to the amount of crime, but New York's been getting pretty wild. I suppose it's relative to the amount of crime, but
been getting wild in what way?
There were, I think, last year, like 25 people were pushed in front of trains.
I mean, I can tell you that crime in New York City is, down still around historic lows. I mean, yeah. I'm old, so I remember New York in the late 80s. And, it's...
Wow.
It's like 3
years ago. Sorry, I was wrong. Yeah, it was in 2022. I think it was.
Oh, well, listen, during COVID, we had a once in a lifetime event, hopefully, knock on wood. And a lot of things got messed up, but crime is back down. The only crime that has gone up, which is fascinating. And for all of the BS that we heard over the past couple of years about, shoplifting and smash and grab and all that. Do you know what the one major crime that is up?
Which one?
The most statistically? It's actually shoplifting. Shoplifting went up in 2023, and it is now because it went down during COVID. So as much as we heard, and I know you've talked about this quite a bit, and I think it's been misrepresented in a lot of respects, that all of the shoplifting was up and people are gone mayhem. It's crazy. It was actually below where it was in 2019, and it is now back up to where it was in 2019.
I think,
and because COVID was, screwed up with our society so much. But again, you ask me, why are we going the wrong direction with capital punishment? I would say it is the absolute BS that has been shoveled. I don't watch your show enough to know, although I've seen people on here who, when Emma was on, who promote this idea that there was like this explosion of crime. And in fact, what ends up happening is that, yes, during COVID, there was a spike. And now we're back down. And the only thing that is back at 2019 levels is actually shoplifting, because it had gone down and it's gone back up because we're back to normal.
So Sam Seder is trying to claim that after allowing in, 15, 20, 30 million illegal immigrants into our country, asylum seekers, however you want to word it, somehow violent crime is down. I mean, we've seen the reports. We know what happens. It's not the actual amount of crime that is down. It is the fact that those crimes aren't being reported or responded to, right? If you remember, during the summer of love that led into COVID, which was all pretty much the same time period, because you'll remember they told us that COVID couldn't spread during a BLM riot, but, don't go to Thanksgiving with your family, don't have Christmas with your family, that type of stuff, right? But during that time period, a lot of the good cops quit. And most of these police departments, unfortunately, are understaffed. So not only are they unable to, deal with the increased amount of crimes, in my opinion. They're being encouraged to, just let the people go, slap them on the wrist and let them go. And, to his point that shoplifting is up, well, we can't let the numbers be skewed so much that we can't let it appear that we're not doing anything as a police force. So let's make sure that we report all of the shoplifting, and we'll even bust some of these other ones because that's an easy one to deal with. Rather than go in and try to battle a Venezuelan gang who's taking over people's apartments in Aurora, Colorado, and some other places across the country, we'll just put more cops on the street where we'll just put more cops outside of the department stores and bust people for shoplifting, right? It's like that quota at the end of the month where all of a sudden it's the end of the month or the end of the quarter and you see police officers sitting everywhere running radar trying to increase their number of traffic tickets. They try to say that the quota doesn't exist and they're not supposed to give out so many traffic tickets per quarter or per month or whatever, but you see it with your own eyes, right? And that's and that's what's going on with this other situation here. The crime rates aren't down. You got to be an idiot to think that with an increased population, with an increased amount of illegals, that basically every single one of them broke into the country and committed a crime, that in itself, that somehow crime is down. It just makes no sense. And it goes to show how these woke pundits cooperate with the Democratic apparatus, and they're just completely disingenuous when it comes to calling out facts. If it's not good for their party, if it's not good for their cause, they'll glaze over it or they'll just simply lie to your face. And Sam Seder's doing that right now with a smile on his face, which is pretty freaking enraging and annoying at the same time.
So I'm trying to pull up the Marshall Project. This is a good one. So we had these. This was the story that happened, and this is what's a cause for contention. The FBI released crime data showing that crime had gone down, and during the presidential debates, David Muir fact-checked Donald Trump, saying actually crime is down. However, recently the FBI released new crime data showing that actually it was up. It was up, I believe, 4.5%.
When? What year?
The year prior, 2021.
That it was up.
Yeah. So the latest data that we have.
But we knew. No, it was actually 2022. We knew. We knew. Yeah, it was 2022.
I'm sorry, the increase from 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During COVID, in the wake of COVID, 2022 was up because the data reporting was not complete. But if you look at 2023 data, which is now they have got enough of the police departments online that 94 point something of the country is covered, you will find that crime is down in 2023.
So do you think, I think one of the issues
we had a rise because of COVID and now it's dropping back down. But again, let's also be clear on this. If you compare 1990 crime with today, it's basically like this. It's just straight down on that.
You want to know something interesting? You know what one of the biggest factors in the decline in murder is? Cell phones. So back in the day, in the 90s, if somebody got stabbed, somebody had to run to a payphone to try and call 911, and that created a massive gap between first response and medical treatment. And so around the time cell phones came out, you see a massive drop in murder charges and homicides. People immediately started thinking like, wow, crime is down. And it's like, well, no, look at the crime data. It is down, it is going down, but it's not the same. There's a decline in crime and a sharp decline in murder because now people were instantly calling 911 and first responders were arriving on scene much more quickly. So that's
okay. But also the other part was, that's interesting.
Crime's been going down.
Crime has been going down. I mean, there's a lot of theories about it. I happen to think it's a function of lead, to be honest with you.
I agree. Lead and gasoline.
Lead and gasoline and lead regulation. It's another example of strong government regulation bringing about benefits that we couldn't even imagine.
I agree. What do you think? I don't understand the mechanism by which lead made crime happen. I saw the reports though, where
lead is a neurotoxin, and if you have brain damage, you're more likely to be maybe violent or antisocial.
That's crazy. Like in the 70s.
So basically, Sam Seder gives you one little tidbit of truth about the decrease in lead, but ignores all the other factors, right? I mean, it's just so crazy how he can claim that you know, it's weird that shoplifting is back to 2019 numbers and it's normal when we know we have tens of millions of illegal immigrants in our country who, you know, supposedly don't have any support, right? They're not supposed to be able to work, and they're just not stealing. I mean, come on, dude. It's insane. You want to say that that's normal? It's not normal, okay? And we all know better, right? They're all being propped up by our federal government, by our tax dollars, essentially giving them debit cards, putting them in five-star hotels, all the things that we've read about over the past, 4 years, essentially, that doesn't seem to be getting any better, right? So this was one of the more mild parts of the conversation that Tim Pool and Sam Seder had, but I wanted to share this little clip because I keep hearing these mouthpieces for the Democratic Party saying that crime is down, and it's a straight up lie, and it's a demonstration of how left media and lefty ran government is tearing our society, it's tearing our country apart and making it a more dangerous place for us all to live. And so if you appreciate that, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and maybe share this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.